The Steelers just need to do the Steeler way. Cause the Bengals ain't shit, they ain't fuck, and they ain't gonna win.
Welcome to the Jungle, Bengals fans. I'm your host, Kyle Phelps, and I'm not nervous about this one at all. Can't you see my very calm, normal facial expression? It's just Steelers week. No big deal. It's not like I'm going to base my entire demeanor this week on whether or not we win or lose this particular game or anything. It's all good. But seriously, guys, we've got a good one for you today. It's Steelers week. And you know what that means? That's right. Pure, unregulated spite and hatred. I don't pretend to be anything other than a Bengals fan on this show. And I won't pretend to ever want anything less than to crush the Pittsburgh Steelers every single time we play them. Obviously, it wasn't going too good there for the Bengals for a while. They hadn't slayed the Steelers dragon since Jeremy Hill fumbled the ball in that 2016 playoff game that totally didn't teach me about new levels of darkness only reconcilable through a therapeutic journey through the deepest expressions of sadness in the pits of the human soul. See, look, I'm fine. Ow. Since then, it's been 11 straight losses. That is, until one man, one knight in glorious, shining armor ended the streak. Yes, that's right. The legend, Ryan Finley, with his iconic shit-eating grin, helped by Von Bell, rocking Juju Smith-Schuster to his core, as they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in their own house, 27-17. More recently, the Bengals dominated the Steelers in Pittsburgh by a score of 24-10 in Pittsburgh. I wept tears of blissful joy. The dark times were over. Let us go forth to the playoffs! Well, now we need to do that again. The nice thing is the Bengals already won their road matchup with the Steelers this year. Now they need to go replicate that at home. It sounds like the Steelers are probably going to get TJ Watt back, so the Bengals won't dodge that bullet again. But it doesn't change the fact that the Steelers' offense is hot garbage. Yeah, I know they dropped 37 on the Chargers last week, but that was the only time they had dropped over 30 points all year. In fact, the Steelers only managed 20 points of offense until that random 17-point explosion in the final 4 minutes of the Chargers game. So, I'd say the Bengals defense has got to be licking their chops at the opportunity to play a Steelers game that hasn't topped the 20-point mark in 5 of their games so far this year. For those of you who don't like math, that's half. Half. The Bengals offense, by contrast, has only gone under 30 points once in their last 5 games. That being that horrendous blowout loss to the Browns that we shall only speak of minimally. But don't forget how many points were taken off the board in that game that was entirely due to just a few individual miscues, like Jamar Chase's drop deep ball, Joe Burrow's pick 6 after driving 75 yards to the Browns' 3-yard line, T. Higgins' drop touchdown. All I'm saying is that the Bengals offense has been more explosive than the Steelers. And it ain't even close, guys. That said, there's so much on the line in this one. Whichever team wins this week will be in control of a playoff spot. Your destiny awaits! The one that loses could possibly end up dead last in the division at the end of the week. This could possibly be the most consequential game that the Bengals and Steelers have played since Jeremy Hill. So regardless of where you stand, this could end up being an all-time classic. Mike Tomlin seems ready, considering all the passive shots that he's been taking leading up to this week. Are you? Whether you are or not, we got our own Steelers correspondent at Welcome to the Jungle to help you get ready. He's the host of Dan the Steelers Fan's Stairway to 7 MAGAcast, sponsored by Yin's VPN. It's Dan the Steelers Fan, everybody. Say what's up, Dan.
What's happening, Bengals fan? You win any playoff games yet? No, as usual. And you'll never win no playoff games either.
Ah, I see you haven't changed a bit, Dan. I hope whatever crawled up your ass is having a nice little time up there. But I know that you love Bengals Steelers Week just as much as I do. Are you planning on coming down to Cincinnati for the game?
Am I coming to Cincinnati for the football game? Why, so I can eat your diarrhea chili and get shot? Yeah, I do have tickets. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. I know you're really looking forward to this game. So it's definitely an interesting concept that you have here. The Stairway to 7 MAGAcast, sponsored by Yin's VPN. I definitely recommend that to anybody who loves their ears bleeding profusely. So how'd you get started in podcasting?
How did I get started in podcast? Well, I was at the junkyard one day throwing away this Bengals thing that I found, and I found this cool little microphone, and my buddy Daryl said that I should get on the internet and try talking about the Steelers since that's all I fucking do at work. Then I was like, what's podcasting? Is that like the Tide Pods, or when you're eating the Tide Pods like them millennials is doing? Well, then my friend was like, no, it's when you like, blah, blah, blah. Well, and then I was like, okay, I could talk into a microphone for like an hour. So, and so I'm like, yeah, I'll just get on YouTube and talk. And then a lot of people are like, shit, this guy's got a lot of shit to say. And so that's just what I did. And then, like, you know, everyone in PA thought I was pretty cool. So I guess that's how it started.
Well, I'm sure they did, man. So the Steelers are 5-4-1 right now, and there's a lot of talk about how Ben Roethlisberger's basically washed up at this point, and that being a big reason why the team hasn't quite lived up to the lofty expectations that they've set for themselves over the past 15 years or so. So, in your professional opinion, how do you think the Steelers are looking so far this year?
Well, Ben Roethlisberger is actually playing really good, better than your quarterback. And this offensive line's going to be great, and that's why we drafted Najee Harris. Running backs are at a premium right now. I think Coach Tomlin made the right decision, and we're going to win the Super Bowl behind paying anyway. We can have any quarterback, but this offensive line is going to be, it's going to get the job done.
Really? The offensive line? You know, interestingly, I actually saw a stat from Pro Football Focus the other day. The Steelers' offensive line actually ranks third worst in the NFL with a 53.8 grade in run blocking. The Bengals actually held Najee Harris at 2.9 yards per rush the last time we played them. And, I mean, I know Ben Roethlisberger threw him like a million checkdowns, and he did pretty well in the passing game. But it seems to me like the offense is kind of predictable.
Do I have to remind you, you lost to the Jets? Who loses to the Jets? We don't have we didn't lose to the Jets. You lost to your fake ass 6-4 record is the real conversation. You're gonna lose to us next week, just like you always do. And we went 11-0, but that's because, you know, Tomlin's play calling as usual, calling checkdowns on 4th and 7. I guess that doesn't work anymore, but it used to, so.
I see. So, was it Mike Tomlin's decision then to quit in the fourth quarter against the Bengals last time?
We didn't quit, okay? We was saving our players for the real games. We're not interested in the fucking Bengals, okay? We know that you're not going to do anything in the division. So we were saving our players for the Ravens and the Chiefs and any other AFC team. So we had to rest our players. We didn't quit. We was resting against a garbage team like the Bengals, who's always going to lose. You have to get into the playoffs. Okay? We was resting our players, and we rested them well.
Okay, so then what's your explanation for what happened against the Chargers then? It was kind of the opposite issue there, right? Like the Steelers, rested their players in the first 3 quarters against the Chargers?
Well, it's what I come to expect out of Tomlin and Fichtner. More like Fartner, because he sucks like a butt.
Well, Fichtner did figure something out to get them going in the 4th quarter, because it looked like they absolutely exploded for 27 points, despite doing almost nothing the rest of the game. It looked like, actually, they were going to pull off the miracle comeback, but they weren't able to ice it away at the end of the game. So what do you think happened there?
Well, obviously, the Steelers lost his Tomlin's play calling is suck. And then Fichtner, and then Najee Harris decided he just didn't want to play today. I guess he's turning into the next Antonio Brown, but for like, I don't know, running backs or whatever. And then Ben, so, and then we didn't get no calls. I saw like 3 holding calls that didn't get called on the Chargers, because of course the Steelers never get calls from the refs. We never get calls from the refs. We never get any calls, and the league doesn't like it. It's like the Steelers are the least favorite team in the NFL. The refs never give us any calls. The stands only have about half of our fans in them at all the away games. It's like nobody likes the Steelers.
Well, can you really blame them? I mean, you claim the Steelers never get any calls, but I see it happen all the time. Like the Monday night shit show against the Bears, where the Steelers basically won because the refs handed bad call after bad call to the Steelers and basically doomed the Bears to lose that game.
What do you mean shit show? Calls are bad on both sides. I got loads of Bears friends who say that the calls were bad on both sides. So, I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta play to win the game, and they didn't win. So, boo-hoo to the Bears. They've never been good ever.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, though. It seems like the Steelers win the way they did against the Chargers all the time. There were some really questionable calls on the Chargers near the end, like the DPI on Campbell and the roughing the passer on Joey Bosa, and that's part of why the Steelers were able to build that comeback that they did. The difference is, in this one, it almost kind of felt like the refs finally didn't call anything on the Chargers in the final moments when they took the lead or when the Steelers were on their last drive. Steelers didn't get that magical help from the refs in the final moments.
Well, they shoulda.
But Dan, even you tweeted out that the Steelers were going to win that game because there weren't any calls coming your way in the final few minutes. Hold on, I actually have that tweet right here. You said, these Steelers gonna shock their world, cause ain't none of these refs need to gear us no calls for us to win. I think I got that right.
I don't remember. I was wasted. I don't remember that. I probably did though. I probably did.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to get your opinion on that roughing the passer call on Joey Bosa. It seemed pretty ticky-tacky to me, man.
Well, it was obviously the right call. The calls are bad on both sides, because the refs the refs are so bad these days that, they were bad on both. Remember that one call that went against the Steelers? Yeah, you don't see me complaining about it. And the Chargers, so-called, showed up to their football game. Their fans don't even show up. They got the worst fans in football right now, maybe besides the Bengals. So I got hemorrhoids. I can't do this. Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, sure. I think that actually might be best for everybody, honestly. I just have one last question for you. So, Mike Tomlin, he had some interesting comments when he was asked about Jamar Chase. Do you think that Jamar can have a similar impact to one he had back in September, where he scored 2 touchdowns in Pittsburgh?
Jamar Chase, more like drop chase. That's all he does is drop, but he hasn't caught a ball in like 5 weeks. So, good luck throwing it to Chase when he can't catch a ball, just like y'all should have taken the penny Sewell, just like everyone told you to do. Joe Mixon ain't gonna go nowhere, cause, no, we ain't got TJ Watt again. Yeah, that's why y'all won last time, cause we didn't have TJ Watt. That's fine though. Steal it away. Next man up. You're gonna lose. Bengals bitch.
Alright. Bye then. I guess. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and with all the views and engagement, it makes me feel like I should do it a whole lot more. But anyway, that about wraps up the Steelers preview. As always, if you got something to say, leave it in the comments, and I'll feature the best ones on the next preview video. You can always catch more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, Bengals coverage on ATBNetwork.com, as well as the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And I'll leave a link to that in the description. But before I leave, I'll leave y'all with a hootie!